Hello and welcome to my review for Together, the movie with Dave Franco and his real life wife, which I apologize, I do not know her name, because this is the first time I've ever seen her and I didn't look up the cast list or anything like that. But this is a supernatural rated R supernatural horror movie that basically follows two characters as they move into a new home far away from New York City life, and some supernatural spooky stuff starts to happen, and that is the plot for the movie. Now, I'm going to spoil this movie. I think it came out in 2025. It was on Hulu. I think that it came, I don't know the month or around when it came out, but I remember seeing that it did come out in theaters, but I obviously didn't see it. I just watched it. But I want to start out by saying I like this movie. This movie is weird and it's kind of gross, but it's good and it's interesting and engaging. And the main themes of this, at least what I pulled away, which again, I'm probably maybe not getting all of the themes that are in there, but there's a big one that I think I'm picking up pretty hard from this movie, and that is codependency in a relationship. Basically, where one person completely relies on the other and doesn't, I don't really want to get I don't know the definition of the word, and I don't really want to get it wrong, but essentially it's when one person in a relationship relies so much on the other person that they kind of can't be apart, and they can't really do their own thing. They need the other person to kind of make them whole, which is such a good idea when it's placed into the supernatural aspect of this. So this movie gives me like The Thing vibes, which again, in the beginning of this movie, you kind of see, again, I'm spoiling it all. In the beginning of this movie, you see a couple of dogs drinking from this well of water thing in a cave, and it's all gross and it's nasty and it's Stranger Things, like tentacles coming out and whatever. And they drink from this pool of water, and then they start to act really weird and bizarre. And then later in the night, the owner of the dogs goes into the kennel, and basically they are merging into one thing. They're coming together. The movie name, which is like, say that again, but they're merging together, and it's because they drank from this water. And again, the movie doesn't really actually it does. I almost just lied, but the movie explains it later on. But basically these dogs drank from this water, and now something in the water is pulling them together to become one. And then we jump to our main story. That is basically like a hey, what's happening kind of thing start to the movie. And again, in The Thing, it takes over, which if you haven't seen the movie from the 1970s, then I'm sorry, but The Thing takes over and like takes the form of a dog, and then the people that are on the base, they kind of like look at the dog, and it like turns into like this giant creature or whatever. But this is what this movie feels like. It's real gross nastiness, slimy, just gross nasty shit with the dogs. And I like it a lot, man. I'm a big sci-fi guy. But anyway, so basically we follow two characters. Millie, who is she is a school teacher, and she's kind of more accomplished. And then we follow Dave Franco's character, who I forgot his name. I'm sorry. But Dave Franco's character, he wants to be a rock star. He wants to be in a band, and he wants to, have a really big band and go on touring, and it's not really working out the way that he wants, and this is a big setup. Basically, Millie's character, Dave Franco's wife, she is super, like, she is successful. She has a good job. She makes good money. She is liked by people. And again, Dave Franco's character is liked by people, but he's kind of seen, I think it's also trying to do something with gender roles, where, in society, it's seen as the men make the money in the relationship and the women do the other bullshit, like not bullshit, I'm sorry, but like women are seen as like, oh, you're supposed to have kids and raise the baby and keep the house clean and yada yada yada. That's what like society is seeing. But in this one, it's flipped. Dave Franco's character, he doesn't really he literally gets proposed to by her. They've been together for like 10 years and he never proposed, and she goes and do it, which, mind you, dude, I know that this movie's trying to say something, but that is so embarrassing. As a dude, I don't know. I proposed to my wife, obviously. Maybe not obviously, but I proposed to my wife, and I couldn't imagine being with her for 10 years and then it taking so long that she's like, fine, I'll do it. And like, I don't know, that it was just, it's like secondhand embarrassment. It's so hard to watch something. And because he even stutters, like she's like, will you? And he's like, and then she like close, and then he's like, no, yes, and it's like, oh, it's so embarrassing. But basically everybody in the friend group and their little group of people kind of see him as like less than, kind of, because he doesn't really have a job, and he kind of is like, he's codependent on her. Basically she makes all the money, and he is basically it. He's kind of a bad dude. He's not a bad person, but like sometimes the things that he says to her in this movie, I'm like, are you dead ass serious? Like, oh man, whatever. But basically they end up moving out of New York City to like a place that's like 3 hours away. So it's still New York, but it's not the city. It's more like rural, I guess, like, you know, not city life. It's more far out. And they basically move into the house from the beginning of the movie, or it looks a lot like the movie or the house from the beginning. But basically they move here and a bunch of weird shit happens. Also, I'm gonna say this here. Dave Franco's character is kind of odd and weird, and he says weird, not weird, it's not weird, but like when you are in a relationship with somebody and you see some of the things that other people say to their relationship partner, you're like, oh, like I wouldn't say that, you know what I mean, to my partner. But you know, everybody's relationship is different. But he says some things that are, I don't understand how to explain his character in a good way, because he's not a bad character and he's not a bad person in the movie. Like, his character's not a bad person, but some of the things that he says, you're like, dude, I don't even know what you're expecting to get from this. But it leads into the themes, but basically his dad was very like kind of abusive to him, and his dad ends up committing self-harm to the point of no return. And he walked in when he was a kid, and his mom was there smiling with a corpse of his father next to him. Or next to her, rather, I'm sorry. And basically, Dave Franco later on in the movie explains that her mind broke because that was her lover, that was the person she was in love with, and now he's gone. And she was smiling and her mind broke because that person being gone, it broke. Basically, Dave Franco's mom was codependent on his dad. And when his dad left, or is no longer with us, his mom mentally just like wasn't her own person. Like, she just broke. Like, she is no longer able to be there. But anyway, there's the scene and it shows you the flashback of the mom smiling. Well, this movie is supernatural, but it's not ghost supernatural. But they do some stuff when they move into the house where Dave Franco is like seeing ghosts of his mom. I don't like that. Keep it to the alien together thing more than the ghost stuff, because listen, I'm not gonna lie, this movie's pretty scary. It's pretty creepy, it's gross, there's a lot of nasty noises in this movie, but when you do like ghost jump scares in the middle of like a sci-fi supernatural is what I mean. Like, that's why it gives me Thing vibes, where it's not like ghosts or entities or paranormal, it's like alien sci-fi, or I'm sorry, alien supernatural. And that's what I liked about this movie. But anyway, there's a couple times where it's late at night and Dave Franco's wife is sleeping, and you know, he's like looking at the end of the bed and there's like a ghost figure of his mom. And I get it, it's like PTSD, it's trauma, but it's like, is the house haunted, or is the water that the dogs drank the thing? It's the water. The water is the thing, but it's when you show the thing at the end of the bed, or like there's a scene where he's like looking at the end of the bed and he's like, oh, there's something there, and he lifts up the covers and it like blocks the camera, like he's like lifting it and it goes like this, and in under the sheet when he lifts it, you see like the smiling face of his mom, and it's like there's no loud noise, so it's not necessarily like a jump scare, but you don't expect it to be there. But it's just his imagination. It's not the actual supernatural thing. So I'm like, that feels kind of cheap to be like, oh, is it ghosts? Is it this? It's not. There's something else going on, and I like the other thing more, and I'll get into what that other thing is here in a second. But basically a bunch of weird stuff is happening when they move into this house. He's like, he's having these visions, and one day they go hiking and they're walking in the woods, and they end up falling into a like cave in the ground because it's raining and it's pouring, and basically like mud fell into an underground cave, and they both end up falling in there, and they're like, well, we can't get out because it's raining. We have to wait till it stops raining. So they're in a cave. They're in a cave, and it's spoiler alert, it's the same cave from the beginning, and they don't have water, or at least they only have one bottle for her. So he's like, I'll just drink out of this puddle right over here, no problem. Mind you, even if there is no supernatural thing in this movie, he's dead, because you're drinking stagnant water that's sitting still. Do you know how much bacteria is in that? Like, I'm not an outdoorsy guy. I don't go out, I don't go hiking, I don't go drinking from random puddles, but I know that if you're gonna be in the wood, I've watched enough fucking Survivor and wilderness shit, that if you are gonna drink water, you still have to boil it, but you have to do running water. You have to do running water. That's the only thing that you can drink, and then you have to boil it, yada yada yada. But he's drinking out of stagnant water, and it's the puddle or it's the water that's like all Stranger Things upside downy, and he drinks from it, and he's like kind of feeling weird or whatever, and then they go to bed, and they wake up, and their skin is stuck together, and it's nasty, dude, because they gotta pry their legs apart, but their skin is ripping, and it's like a mucus, like it's like nasty, and it's gross, and it ends up ripping, and she's like, what was that? And he's like, it's probably like mildew or something, which it leads to a funny thing later on where there's more stuff going on, but she's kind of seeing it, and she was like, well, you said that it was moss, and he was like, when the fuck do I know anything about moss? And it's like a funny joke, because like I said, this kind of man that Dave Franco's character is, I'm not saying that he's less than, because everybody has their value in life, but like, again, like his own girl after 10 years had to propose to him. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any sort of income at all. So he is completely codependent on her. So it's funny for him to kind of acknowledge that he doesn't really know a lot, because he's like, when the fuck do I know anything about moss? Like, he's like, my entire life people have been telling me like I don't know what I'm doing, and then but when I say, oh, it's moss, you believe me. It's like a funny thing where you see the kind of the person that he is, and so it's like, why, out of everything that this dude knows or does, why are you believing the moss thing of all things? But it was just a funny line that made me and my wife laugh out loud, where he's like, where the fuck? But basically, he drank the water, and now there's something in him, which is the water or whatever entity or creature, but now it's trying to merge with his wife. And so more freaky shit happens. They run into oh, man, I just forgot about a really big scene. But he basically is gonna go on tour for his band, which is something that he told her he really wanted to do, and she's like, all right, go ahead. Like, she drives him there. There's a couple of good relationship moments where they argue about different like viewpoints, and it's like, when I'm watching it with my wife, and it some of the stuff is relatable in a sense. Obviously there's supernatural stuff, but like, he can't drive because it's New York City, which apparently a lot of people out there, because it's so vast, like a lot of people don't learn how to drive, so he doesn't know how to drive, she only knows how to drive, so he needs to get a ride to the train station. Or no, he wants a ride all the way back to New York, which it's like 3 hours, but she, again, has a job. So she's like, I can only take you to the train station. And they have a little bit of an argument where he's like, I can only get a ride when it fits your schedule. And, so he's kind of coming from a valid place, depending on how you look at it. But it's like a good relationship moment between them. But anyway, he gets to the train station, and he looks bad. It's because whatever entity is inside him is making him look real sick and real gross and real yada yada. And so he's like, basically the entity is trying to pull you to your partner, and then you guys become one. That's the overarching thing of codependency. You are, instead of being two independent individual people, you become one. It wants you to become one person, and it's really good. I'll get to it in a minute. And okay, I'm doing good time. So he basically he walks from the train station all the way back to her school where she works, and he's like, I miss you, I need you. And she's like, you can't be here, also you look like a drug addict, like on a school premises, like you cannot be here. And he's like, no, please, like whatever. And she brings him into the bathroom, and oh, this is another thing, Dave Franco's character and her, his girlfriend or wife, at fiance or whatever, Millie, they haven't had sex in a long time, because I don't know if he is unable to get it up. I don't know if he's just not attracted to her, or I think it's more leaning towards he's just not able to get it up. Every night that they're in this new house, she's like, come on, like, let's go to bed, like trying to, you know, spark it up. And he's like, I can't, I gotta, the music thing, remember the music, I gotta do the music. And so he is like sick at the school, and she like brings him into the bathroom, a little boy's bathroom, mind you, crazy. But they go in the stall, and he's like, I need you. And so she's like sexually, like she hasn't had sex in a while, and she's obviously attracted to him, but he won't do it. So he's finally like, let's go. And she's like, fine. And they do it in a little boy's bathroom at a school, which is crazy. But you know, they do their thing and they finish up, and he goes to remove himself, and they're stuck because the thing is trying to merge them together. They're trying to become one. And so it's so fucking bad. He's got to pull his Johnson out of her, but it's like you hear it ripping. The noises in this movie are so well done because it makes you cringe so bad. It's like you hear skin ripping as she's like, I'm in a school, I'm at work, which, by the way, this is crazy for her to even do that, but like, whatever, it's a good movie, so whatever, I'm gonna suspend my disbelief. But having sex on school grounds when you teach fucking toddler, like middle school age children is insane. But she's like, I gotta do this, and she goes, pushes him, and you just hear, and he's like, you know, does that kind of thing where it hurts or whatever. But I gotta wrap this up here. But basically, there's another scene where late at night you hear a gross noise, and she wakes up, and he's ingesting her hair, and she goes to like pull away, and it like all pulls out of his mouth. It's all nasty and gross. But basically, later on in the movie, she gets some of it. So now the thing is trying to pull them together, and you know, she ends up believing him because throughout the movie, he's like, something is going on inside of me and I don't know what it is, and it's pulling me towards you and I cannot help it. And she's like, you need to just figure out whatever's going on. But eventually it gets inside of her and they're being pulled together, and they basically have to cut each other apart. They merge at the arm, and again, it's really gross and really well done, where their hands go like this, and then like his hand will go under her skin like this, and like you see his like fingers popping out, and it's super gross. But anyway, he like the pain is so bad that he passes out and wakes up in the morning, and he's sitting in a chair, and their arms are merged. Oh, they take muscle relaxers, which stop the thing from trying to merge them together. So they take muscle relaxers, but even though it stopped them from continuing to merge, they're still stuck, like arm in arm. So she gets like a fucking like a turkey, what are they, a fucking saw, like not a hand saw, but like an electric turkey carver or whatever, like a pumpkin carver, I don't even know. But she saws it off, and it's so well done, and they bandage each other. And basically, I'm gonna just get to what it is. Basically, there was an old Greek philosopher that said that when they, you know, believed in Greek gods, that all humans were born with or double, basically. So 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 heads, and, you know, all the, like, double the appendages. And basically they said the gods feared humans, so they split them in half. So you have to find your other part. That's essentially what this thing is. But you get later on in the movie, I'm gonna kind of just jump to the end. Later on in the movie, there's a character that works at the school with Millie, and he was a part of there's old footage of his wedding, and he was getting married to a man, and they cut each other and they drank this water, and basically they accepted the merge and they merged together into one person. Now you can either accept it and you become one person, or you don't accept it and then you become this like amalgamation thing type nasty creature. And basically at the end of the movie, Dave Franco and his wife, they are like, we have to merge because we cannot be apart. Basically, Dave Franco was going to kill himself. I shouldn't. He was going to take away his own life, and he was going to do that for her so she could live her life and wouldn't be attracted to him because he's no longer here. But then he sees that she's bleeding out, and so he's like, oh no, she's going to die. So he saves her, and then they decide to just merge at the end anyway, and they become a new person. And basically what it's saying is that codependency, when one person gives up their dreams, which is Dave Franco's character, he doesn't want to be he gives up being the rock star. When two people are no longer independent, they just become one person, the same person. And I like that a lot. I think it's really well done. I really like this movie. If you watched it, please let me know what you think. I'm going to wrap this one up here. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie. I would rate it like, dude, this was a nasty, scary, good horror movie. I'm rating it like an 8 out of 10 on my enjoyment scale. So yeah, let me know what you think. Have a good day.